How's it going, troops? Jordan here, and I'm back with more Call of Duty Advanced Warfare class setup videos. Today's class setup video is the first of many movie themed class setups. This class setup is based off a movie that is definitely one of my favourite sci-fi films to date that came out in late 2013, this being Elysium. So the movie Elysium was directed by the very talented Neil Blomkamp, who recently just released Chappie in cinemas and is also going to be directing the new Aliens film, which should be quite interesting. Elysium also starred the very famous Matt Damon, who plays the character of Max DaCosta. The movie is set in the year 2154, where the gap between the rich and the poor is so huge that the rich now live on a space habitat called Elysium, whilst the poor stay on the overpopulated and polluted Earth. Max DaCosta unluckily is one of the poor and works at Armadine Corp, owned by John Carlyle, which is the guy that originally designed the Elysium space habitat and now runs Armadine, which builds robots and advanced weaponry. In the film, Max DaCosta has an accident in which he receives a lethal dose of radiation that gives him 5 days to live. Because of this, he does everything in his will to get up to Elysium and get to a medbay, which, in case you don't know, is a medical machine that can cure all diseases, reverse aging, and even regenerate new body parts. Halfway through the film, he acquires a third generation exosuit that allows him to have increased strength and resilience. So now that I've given you a brief overview of the film Elysium, it's time to get on with the class setup. So like I said, this class setup is based on the movie Elysium. Everything that you see in this class setup has a purpose from the actual movie, and we're not going to be taking any consideration of in-game performance due to the fact that this is a fun class setup to use. Getting into the actual weapons and attachments, for our primary weapon we're going to be going with the AK-12. In the film, Max gets handed an AKM rifle by Manuel, in which Manuel teaches him how to use the weapon. So we can replicate the AKM at our best by using a different AK variant, this being the AK-12, which we can use in game. For our attachments we're going to be going with 3 of them. Our first attachment is the hybrid sight. On the AKM it features a futuristic optical sight which isn't present in Advanced Warfare, but the hybrid sight does look quite similar to it, so we're going to be going with the hybrid sight. For our second attachment we're going to be going with dual magazines. The AKM features 2 magazines that are taped together, in which Max can easily fast reload them. And luckily for us, we do have the dual magazines in Advanced Warfare, and we can equip it on our AK-12, so we're going to be using the dual mags for our second attachment slot. In order for us to get a third attachment, we're going to have to spend a point on the primary gunfighter wildcard. For our third attachment we're going to be going with the tracker sight. On the AKM we can see that there is a laser of some sort attached just to the top of the barrel of the weapon. It's probably more logical to go along with the laser sight, but the tracker sight looks a lot similar to the laser that we see in the film. For our secondary we could go with a pistol, as there's quite a few in the film, but none of the pistols in the film look similar to the ones that we see in Advanced Warfare. So instead I thought we'd take a look in the launch category and go with the Stinger M7. In the movie we see Agent Kruger bring out a quad rocket that locks onto aircraft as he tries to take out the warships that are heading to Elysium. Not only can we use the Stinger M7 to lock onto enemy aircraft in game, but we can lock onto the actual enemies, which is quite annoying to them, but is fun for us. So now let's move on to our perks and extra equipment for this class setup. For perk 1 we're going to be going with the Overcharge perk. Overcharge gives us an increased time of our extra ability, which we're going to be talking about in a second. For perk 2 we're going to be going with the Fast Stance perk. Fast Stance allows us to use our extra equipment and switch weapons faster with our 3rd generation exosuit. And for perk 3 we're going to be going with the perk Toughness. In the film Max is a lot tougher and stronger with his new exosuit equipped, so we can best replicate this with the Toughness perk. For our exo launcher we're going to be going with 1 frag grenade. In the film, Max holds a frag grenade on board Kruger's warship in case of any trouble that occurs whilst he's on his way to the Elysium space habitat. And finally, for our exo ability we're going to be going with Exo Stim. In the movie we see that medbays can cure and heal people, so Exo Stim can help replicate this by healing us when we're injured a lot faster, and also by generating health beyond normal levels for a short period of time. Combining Exo Stim with the Overcharge perk, this means that we can have increased health for a longer period of time than normal. And finally, to finish off our class setup, let's move on to some score streaks and modules. Our first score streak we're going to be going with the System Hack. The covert data that is in John Carlyle's head gets corrupted, and when Sandra attempts to copy the data into Max's brain, Max feels heavy pain in his head due to the corruption, so the System Hack can help replicate this scene by jamming the enemy's HUD for a short period of time. We're not going to stop there though, we're going to be going with a module for our System Hack, and the module is called Flash. The Flash module will help us to flash the enemies for a few seconds, which will scramble the enemies' heads a lot more. And finally, for our last score streak to finish off the class setup, we're going to be going with the highest one, that being the Paladin. Elysium features many types of warships, and the Paladin best replicates Agent Kruger's warship. But we're not done there. For our modules, we're going to be going with the Wingman module, which allows us to have an extra person on board our Paladin. This is because Kruger has 2 henchmen that control the warship in the film. And our second and last module for our Paladin is the 105mm cannon. Because Kruger's warship has heavy weaponry on board, there is nothing more devastating than a 105mm cannon, which will blast our enemies into next week. So troops, this concludes the Elysium class setup. Let me know your thoughts on this class setup in the comment section below, and also let me know if you would change anything. Let me know in the comment section below which movie themed class setup you would like to see me do next. I'll be interested to know. If you did enjoy this class setup video or found it interesting, then do give the video a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it a lot. If you just stumbled across this class setup video through YouTube search, then do consider subscribing, it would definitely help me out a lot. And until the next video, I thank you for watching, stay true to me troops, and I'll see you in game.